Today we're going to be making some orange blossom soap, and this is one of my favorites. Now the olive oil in this recipe is going to be comprised of calendula infused olive oil. So what I did is I just filled this quart jar with dehydrated or fully dried organic calendula petals. I filled it up and then I covered this, or then I filled it with olive oil, and I've been letting it sit in a shady area for, it's been a couple weeks. So now I'm just going to measure out what I want to use in my recipe. And if there's a few little like pieces of calendula that pass through this strainer, that's fine. I'm just going to be blending it right in there. If you don't want that, if you don't want any like little grains or pieces of calendula, then I would just use cheesecloth or a coffee filter right in the strainer and then strain it. The second oil that I infused for color was annatto seeds with canola oil. So I have about a quarter cup of annatto seeds in here, and then I had filled this with canola oil. Now, generally I like to let that sit for at least a couple days to extract the most color, but I'll tell you what, sometimes I make this soap last minute and I hadn't had any annatto seeds infusing, so sometimes it's I only infuse it for a few hours and it still gets some color, and then once I use the oil I just reuse the seeds a second time for another infusion, for a longer second infusion. So again, just using the strainer, and you can see the oil is orange. A pale orange. This is probably actually a third infusion that I have of these annatto seeds because I need to order more and I just haven't, or they're sold out where I usually order them. So my strength color is usually darker, especially on a first infusion, but it's all good. I'm just adding the lye water to my oils. You notice a little bit of a white film on the top. That's just the like the soda, the washing soda kind of reacting with the oxygen to form that little crust, and you can strain it out. I normally do, but it wasn't much on there, so I didn't bother. And now I'm just blending until emulsification. And the essential oils I'm adding, this is orange 10X essential oil from Brambleberry, and I also have a little bit of benzoin essential oil or benzoin resin from Bulk Apothecary, and I'm just mixing that right into my oils and lye base. I find orange 10X does decelerate trace, so if you're wanting to do swirls or something with a design, orange 10X is a really good essential oil to use that I found in my experience. And now I'm just using a baby spoon to texture the top. I had waited approximately 5 minutes to wait for my batter to thicken up just a little bit so it would hold its shape. And generally when I make soap at night, I get really poor lighting because just the way my lights are situated on the counter. So I apologize for that shadow, and maybe I just need to start making videos during the day rather than at night. I do have some other videos that show this texturing technique a little better with better lighting and better focusing. So if you want to check out like the ribbon candy soap top swirls, that's kind of where I go a little bit more in depth with showing how to texture the tops, but it is pretty self-explanatory. So once I was done texturing the tops, I did gel my soap, and this was the final product. And now I sliced my loaves into individual bars, and I have these fondant like cake designing tools that I found at a salvage store. I'll see if I can find a link to something similar that you could find online, but it was just for decorating cakes. So I got these little plastic things and I put it on the soap, and I just use a mallet and gently hammer down. You don't need to bang it too hard or anything, and then it released pretty well. And my son saw me hammering with that mallet, so of course he had to try, and here he is really hammering.